morning. It's Sunday, October 25th, a week before All Saints Sunday, which we celebrate on November 1st, and also the Day of the Dead, which is a Mexican holiday that has spread to different parts of Central America, South America, and wherever Mexican people live abroad, including the United States. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the Day of the Dead and then show you my home altar and talk about how to make a home altar. And then we're going to patch in a video from Eric Medina from California, one of our fellows over the summer who is Mexican American, and he will talk about what making a home altar means to him. So the Day of the Dead celebration goes all the way back in indigenous culture, the Nahua culture, hundreds and hundreds of years. The Nahua were had different eras of empires, the Toltecs, the Aztecs, the Mexica, all of those were Nahua people, and the Nahua people are still the largest indigenous group in Mexico. And so their culture believed that the dead would come back to life for 1 month out of the year, and that the living would celebrate with them, would rejoice with them, would party with them. And it was considered in that culture disrespectful to mourn for the dead, to be sad and glum because they were coming back to visit, and the idea was to honor them and to enjoy their presence. And this became connected with the Christian All Saints Day celebration, which is also a celebration of the connection between the living and the dead, and our belief that those who die are alive in the Lord and are still present around us and among us, and that we will also see them face to face when we die. So, but the Mexican celebration really gives an element of joy. There is joy in the All Saints Day celebration, but it's a little more of a somber joy. So, but the Mexican festivities include dancing in the streets and parades and makeup and all sorts of joyful manifestations. So, but I was going to focus on the home altars that a lot of people make in Mexico to honor the dead. And I made one to show you all. And it actually was wonderful to make. I loved it. So I encourage you all to make one if you have the time and want to. So first of all, I put up a picture of Our Lady of Guadalupe to honor her. She is very much a piece of Mexican faith and piety and is honored everywhere. And then I usually have an altar of some sort on top of my bookcase. This is just my bookcase. So you can just, any little table or bookcase at your house, you can, pick it out and then decide to put a few items on there to just give a focus for your prayer. But I did a little more this year in honor of the Mexican traditions. I started by picking out a scarf from my drawer. Let me see if you can see that. That is very sparkly. And the reason I did that is that I was thinking of the hymn, "Who Are These Like Stars Appearing?" which is an All Saints Day hymn. And it talks about the saints around us that shine in our memory and as examples to all of us. So you could put a cloth over your table. And then the other elements are, something that, let me see if I can get this steady. Yeah, you can do pictures of loved ones who have died. This is a member of my extended family who actually died this week, and it was very comforting to my heart to be able to make this altar and include him on there. This was another extended family member who died this year. This I put as a little icon of all those who have died through police brutality. This was an icon made for Black Lives Matter. So I put that in there because that's something very important to me. And then this little picture is a friend of our family's who died long ago. And here is my mom. So yeah, you put pictures of your loved ones, and then marigolds are very traditional for Mexicans to decorate their altars with, and their altars, the altars are much more elaborate than this, but it's very fun. A Mexican altar will include food and drink for the dead, the idea that they need that for the long journey that they've made to come back to the living. I just put a pumpkin and an apple and leaves from my garden reflecting this season of the year. I also made a ribbon with a Sharpie and a long ribbon. And I just I've been around a long time on this earth, so I've known a lot of people who have passed away. So I just put as many of them as I could on the ribbon and laid it on the altar and lit candles. And so the traditional Day of the Dead altar would include pictures of loved ones, candles, food and drink. It might include, pan de muertos, like a sweet bread that are supposed to be specially for the dead, and a cross. Um, sorry. They would also often have a calavera, which is a skull, a sugar skull with flowers around it. And you see those Day of the Dead images everywhere. Um, or a calica, I think it is, which is the skeleton version of that. So, anyway, so just invite you to think about making a home altar yourself. And at other times of year, you can um, you know, have other images or special things. Like I'll show one of mine is Saint Francis. I like to put him up around his feast day. Another one is the risen Christ, resurrecting in his white robes. I have this lovely postcard of the healing of the 10 lepers that I'm very fond of. And I have an icon of the Holy Trinity. And so you can print these out. You can just, look for cards or things like that that you want to put up. You can also use things from nature, like shells or rocks, and just remembering the God's creation that we're in and honoring that. I also put a little line from a poem on here that I really like from John Donne, and it says, "I shall not live until I see God, and when I have seen him, I shall never die." So that's that. And I have my prayer beads here so that whenever I want to pick them up and, pray for all the souls of the departed, as well as for some of the living, I can do that. So that's all I was going to say about home altars. And now I want to share this wonderful video from Eric Medina.
Hello, my name is Eric, and if we haven't met, I was a Grace Year Intermission Fellow this summer. So I was living in the vicarage and working for Epic. Yeah, and I am currently in California, living with my parents and working at my family's restaurant. But Alison asked me to make a little video for you all talking about my traditions and my family's traditions with altars and ofrendas and just what I know about it. Because this summer I had told Alison that I made an altar for my friend that had passed away, celebrating his birthday. His birthday. So I would say that I don't know too much about this tradition. Generally, for Dia de los Muertos, my family doesn't make any type of intricate altar. Maybe every now and then we'll put up pictures and leave out food. But I feel like the most, altars are definitely not specific to Dia de los Muertos. Like I said, I had put up an altar for my friend celebrating the day that was his birthday and also the day that he had passed away. And I remember when my grandma passed away, my mother had this standing altar that is probably, I'm not 100% sure if it's still up now, but it was definitely up for the first 6 months after my grandma had passed away. And kind of like each marker since she had passed away. So like the first 3 days, the first week, the first month, the first 6 months, the first year, all kind of um, required um, certain prayers, certain meals be eaten, and just that more attention be paid to the altar that was standing for my grandma. Um, and to me, this practice is a lot about simply acknowledging that um, the spirits of people who have passed away are still they're still among us, and can and I like a lot of the types of things you put on an altar are things like flowers, people's favorite foods, pictures of them, things that you've maybe done together. So yeah, like for my friend Nick, I put up this carabiner that so we would go rock climbing together a lot, and so it was a carabiner that I had held him on before. So I felt like that really connected us, because we had like our lives had been very much connected through that carabiner, with ropes in between. Um, and yeah, I just think it's a lot about acknowledging that the spirits are still present and creating a very physical space for that in our home. I would also say that I really enjoyed um, putting things up with people, putting altars together, and talking about why you might have chosen to put something up and what it means to you. And um, I would say that something else I also really like about the tradition of making altars is it creates a space to I think also as you're acknowledging that there are spirits around you, there are people's spirits are still with you, you're you're also acknowledging the passing um, of someone and the fact that they are not physically with you, which I think is something that generally is hard for people to talk about. And at least in my life, there often isn't the space for me to talk about with other people often. Yeah, and I feel like something else that is fun about the tradition is that you still have the opportunity to give gifts and be generous to these people that have passed. Um, like trying to get them, um, just really treating them with whatever it is that you think would make them happy, like specific type of flower, or um, some type of treat or object that you think they would really appreciate. Um, you can continue to be generous with this person, and I think that is just really um, nice to get to continue doing. I think that is main. Yeah, I think that is all I wanted to say, and um, I hope that you all um, consider putting up little altars for your past ones this Dia de los Muertos or any other time that you feel called to do so.
Thank you, Eric, for that. And that's where I want to wrap up. The Day of the Dead celebrations include also decorating graves, decorating church altars, decorating home altars. It's people go all out, and so it gathers old traditions in our culture where people would go on Memorial Day or other days in the year and decorate the graves. So anyway, so this All Saints Day, may we remember our beloved dead with joy, with faith, with the knowledge of everlasting life. Thank you, and God bless you.